Good afternoon. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Uh, just spent the day like I do a lot of the days tracking the stock market and some investments. And I really think today, I wrote down some things because today's such a case study in point that I'm trying to make about how we're led by the nose, by those who profess to be informing us, leading us, guiding us, helping us. And at the end of the day, it boils down to they're helping themselves or they're helping those that pay the freight. And I'm going to look at some notes. Um, Today, this is Thursday. The stock market, the equities market, the Nasdaq, the Dow, the S&P, they were pretty flat. Actually, the Nasdaq, it reflects a lot how the 10-year treasuries are doing, and what the treasury yields are down, it tends to bode well for some of the technology sectors. So the Nasdaq was ahead, and through probably midday, 1 o'clock, the market was sideways. The tech stuff was actually doing decent, maybe a 0.5% gain, but a gain. And then the mainstream media, the the shock and awe, the false narrative, the fake news, started breaking news. And Bloomberg started in a totally irresponsible way, in my opinion, on a reported position. They don't even have this official, although I know it's true, but you'll see why, that the Biden administration was going to announce the capital gains tax rate would basically be raised to the ordinary income level of 39.6. And on top of that, you would add the 3.8 investment tax, which was put into the tax code to pay for the Affordable Care Act. So in effect, you're taking the capital gains rate to the highest ordinary income rate of approximately 43 and change, 43% and change. If you're in California, you're paying 12% more on top of that for the state taxes and local. So you're talking about 56, 57% in California, 43 and change for most of the civilized world, civilized country. And suddenly the markets began to tank. The Dow went from even to down 400 bucks. The Nasdaq, which had been up maybe 60, 70, I don't remember, somewhere in that range, down to 180 down. And it is totally fabricated and manipulated, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, we start with it's reported. So they're talking about speculation, about conjecture, but as we know, the rush to judgment for the liberal mainstream media when it comes to attacking the object of their agenda is modus operandi. You jump to conclusions, you shoot first and ask questions later. And that's exactly what they did. So while they haven't heard Biden make this announcement, they report it, they breaking news it, and the market starts to tank. That's number one. Secondly, this breaking news is old news because this is what Biden has been saying since he got elected. Since before he got elected, that taxes would be raised, that the capital gains on would be affected. This is not breaking news. And thirdly, if you know anything about negotiations, whatever Biden floats out, whatever he comes out with first, you ask for the stars and the moon in a negotiation, and then you settle somewhere close to Earth. And that's what this is. So he's going to float his optimum scenario to appease, because remember, he has to look good in front of the puppet masters. And he's going to float the optimum scenario. So he appeases the AOCs and the Pelosi's and all these other people. And guess what? When it comes down to it, he will cave and he will go to some type of increase, but we're not talking about what we're talking about now. But the market reaction has been achieved by Bloomberg. It's a conflict of interest. Because when Bloomberg reports these things, remember who follows Bloomberg is investors, big name, big money, well-heeled investors. So what did they do? They watch this thing tank. They watch the nervous. Remember what we said that Buffett said, stock market is buy when everyone is nervous, sell when everyone is euphoric. The stock market is a vehicle for the patient to get the money of the impatient. So those who have been in the market a relatively short period of time see this tanking and they run for the hills, and guess who feeds? The whales. So the mainstream media reports it as catastrophic, but they report it void of any guidance or in opinion. They just say these drastic tax increases. They don't buffer it or caveat it and explain or give you guidance or opinion or views or nothing, which would be great if they did it across the board. But when it comes to social issues, they don't report the facts. They report what they want you to think. So notice on social issues, they are more than happy to interpret for you how you should think. Why is this discrepancy there if not intended to manipulate? In both cases. Bloomberg is a financial institution, and like I said, it's a conflict of interest. It drives the move down with this report that's nothing new, it's not breaking news. The whales buy, and the minnows head for the shallows. And when I see things like this, I realize exactly how manipulated we are. And I also realize that I am so happy that I have made a decision to tailor my investment portfolio to disruptive technologies, to look long term, to look 3, 4, 5 years down the road on a significant part of my portfolio. Because no matter what manipulation occurs, no matter how many lies we're told, no matter how much self-serving reporting is done and selective reporting is done, at the end of the day, what will win is disruptive technologies. No one can stop progress. And that's where you need to be invested. And that's where I am invested for a large portion. It's a diversified barbell portfolio. Some more conservative, cyclical type of banks and oil companies. Yes, oil companies I don't care about if it's not environmentally sensitive or none of that. And we'll talk about that in a little while because they're going down that route now too. People say that this is all based on ignorance, the way we're being, and that this administration is clueless. I say no. This administration exactly knows what they're doing. And what they're doing is following their agenda, and that is to eliminate the segment of the population that they cannot buy, namely the middle class. The lower economic households, probably 50% of the population, they can buy with a $1,400 check. They can buy with some unemployment benefits extended. They can bribe them with the crumbs that fall off of their feeding trough. The top 5%, go back to Romans, the bread and circuses. They're so well fat and healed and wealthy, and you know what? Yeah, they'll bitch and moan about a little bit, about paying more taxes, but at the end of the day, they say, hey, let's keep the masses happy. There's too many of them. If they want to, they can overthrow us. They can physically overpower us. They can eliminate us. Let's go on their side. Let's tell them that we're all for them. Anyways, no matter what we give them, it's coming back to us. So they'll fight. They'll make it look like it's bad because you can't do anything. You can't give it easy because then people will ask for more. So you make it seem like they're getting something, which they're not getting anything that these people are not very willing to give for their peace, tranquility, and safety. So what does that leave? That leaves the middle class. That approximately 45%, a little less than half, 40%, whatever number you want to use. The middle class. That is the group that's interested in not what the government can do for me, not government take care of me, not where's my fish, where's my check. Those are people who have striving for financial freedom. They have studied the successful and the wealthy. And as opposed to trying to destroy them and bring them down and criticize them and critique them and make them as a negative entity, they say we need to copy what they do. Those are the people that go to the seminars, do the self-help, study, listen to webinars, and try to strive to the success. Not like the rest of the population that is looking to bring the successful down to their level so they don't feel so bad about their ineptitude, and they can attack the successful because it's easy to attack, but it's hard to be successful. And that's what this is. So this creates, this middle class realizes that they don't need the government. As a matter of fact, the less government, the better off they are, the more money they have in their pocket. And that's what the middle class does. And that's who the swamp needs to eliminate, because they can't buy that vote. There's not enough money to buy that vote. The crumbs will buy the lower segment of the population. The top segment says, whatever you want, just don't bother us. So that middle class, there's not enough money for that. So they need to eliminate the numbers. The mass in that core needs to be eliminated. How do you do that? Okay? They attack the middle class and they hide behind the premise that we're going to raise taxes on the wealthy. Well, guess what? The attack on the wealthy is a trickle down on the middle class. The wealthy will bitch, they'll moan, like we said, about paying more taxes. But at the end of the day, they're more than happy to do so because they know one thing. They're wealthy because they know how to make money. They know how to manage money. They know how to preserve money. And they know that no matter how much money gets printed, no matter how much they loan out, because it's a loan temporarily, and they get interest on it, by the way, no matter how much money they put out, it'll eventually come back to them. Because the people that are receiving, the vast majority of the people that are receiving that money are in need of that money because they don't know how to make money, they don't know how to preserve money, and they don't know how to cultivate money. So what happens? You can't tell the masses, hey, we're going to give the wealthy even more money. The rich are going to become even richer. What they tell them is we're going to help the poor people, knowing damn well that at the end of the day, no matter what cost is passed through to the wealthy, the one that's going to pay for it is the consumer, is the one that burns through their money, wastes their money, and doesn't know how to save, doesn't know how to earn, save, and preserve money. Where will it end up? In the hands of those that do. Duping. This is a shell, a Ponzi scheme, the shell game. Where's it hidden? Which shell is it under? We don't know which shell it's under, but we know which shell it started from and where it's going to end up. Okay? And those who think that the government is the answer to their problems, the government is what's going to bring them financial independence, the government is going to give them peace and happiness, that the government is going to give them anything but the bare minimum subsistence, you're sadly mistaken. There's no free lunches, there's no free rides in this world. And that's what you have to learn. There's a saying, it says, you think, and let's use free education, which is their big thing now, college. You think free education is, if you think education is expensive now, wait till it's free. You think healthcare is expensive now, wait till it's free. It's not free. It's not ever free. As a matter of fact, it's more costly because it will be run through the government. And anything that the government runs costs 30, 40, 50% more than in the private sector. People, wake up. Wake up and realize you're being duped by the left. AOC is your enemy. Biden is a puppet. I've told you why Biden is there. Kamala Harris is incompetent. She's a leftist incompetent. AOC is an incompetent. Pelosi is trying to maintain her relevancy and trying to flex muscle and trying to overcome her fears and frustrations, insecurities, by showing the power that she yields. The left is your enemy. And if you don't believe me, look at every single Democrat-run city or municipality since World War II and see where civil rights are. See where wage parities are. See where violence against minorities are, self-inflicted and from others. The left is not your friend. The left is self-serving. I'm going to close with one thing. I just saw a commercial. Shepard Smith. You know, he moved from Fox. He moved over to CNBC. And the monologue, or not the monologue, the prelude to his show is The News, The Truth, with Shepard Smith. The truth according to who? It's merely his opinion as a talking head coming from the liberal left. I've listened to his show in hopes of trying to find some relevance of fairness. You could forget about that. It is totally steered and tainted towards one side and one side only. Look at LeBron James, what he did. Put a police officer's face and says, "You're next." The police officer that rightfully shot that woman, that 15-year-old girl, rightfully shot her as she was attacking with a knife and trying to kill another human being. Okay? He put that officer's picture up on Twitter or internet, I don't know where, and said, "You're next." Maxine Waters went on TV and said, if we don't get the guilty verdict in the police officer case against, I forget his name now. If we don't get the guilty verdict, we're going to the streets. We need to let them know we're serious. Whatever it takes. That's what you heard. Threats of violence, instigation, okay? Coercing people to go out and commit crimes, undertake violence, and take justice into their own hands. The George Floyd case, I'm sorry, finally got in. People, you watch today, and I watch today, how things are manipulated. Very, very carefully, and I use this as a case study. Today, I'm using the financial markets. It's the exact same thing in politics. You're being duped. You're being played. You're standing in front of a guy at a table playing the shell game, and he's asking you to guess, what shell is it under? What shell is the money under? Think about it. This is serious. We need to get rid of the left. We need to vote them out of office. We need to let America be America. We don't need to be Cuba, Venezuela. We need to be the United States of America. I cannot be more adamant about how I feel. And I cannot be more adamant about the request that I'm making, which is get this out in front of people, please. Let people hear this. Share this. Subscribe. There's no reason why we should not have hundreds and hundreds of people listening to this broadcast. It's up to you to help. I am giving you what I view. Am I 100% right? Absolutely not. But I'm coming from the heart. I'm holding back nothing. I'm telling you what I feel. I'm open to you correcting me or anybody correcting me where I'm wrong, but I don't see it. All right? Have a good day. I hope that you help me share this. I hope that you move this out. All of you know somebody. Send this to one person. That's all I'm asking you. Each of you, send this to one person. Thank you. Have a good day.